Hey, comic book fans, welcome back to Wednesday Morning Comic Talk, and this is your host, Mike Spider Slayer. Guys, we are on episode number 3. That's right, guys. Thank you for your patience if you have been waiting for the show. A little bit frustrating here. I'm having some issues with the computer today. Live streaming is a little bit weak. So, again, I apologize, but we do have a good show in store for you today, everybody. We're going to be talking about this week's comics that are coming out. We're also going to be talking about some of the first comics that maybe we have ever bought in our lifetime and what got us hooked on comic books. And then we're also going to be talking about some of the new Star Wars figures that came out this week. Were you in line? Weren't you in line? And maybe a little bit of internet spoilage, how times have changed when it comes to finding out information before certain things have come out. So, yeah, we definitely got a good show in store for you today. So, guys, thank you for listening and tuning in. Again, I apologize if I am late today, but finally got things up and running, and I couldn't be happier. So, with that being said, let's kick off the show today, guys, shall we? All right, so first things first is we are talking about uh, the latest things that did come out this week, and that's right. If you are watching, you'll see a new image on the screen right now, and it's the release of the new Star Wars toys. Now, the thing that kicked off geekdom for me, kind of what got me all into comic books and toys and all that stuff was, yes, Star Wars characters. That's right, guys. Star Wars characters. I thought that they are completely awesome. And this week we actually have um, the new figures that were released. And I wasn't going to wait in line, no. That's one of those things. I was not going to wait in line for these guys as much as I wanted to. I just couldn't justify going out there at 12 o'clock and actually waiting in line for these guys. But were any of you guys, any of you fans that are watching or listening into the show, going to wait for these characters? You know, I didn't wait. I wound up going to Target because that's usually where I shop. I go to Target, and all this merchandise was completely sold out. And I haven't seen a single one of these guys. Now, I saw on eBay that these characters are going online for like 20 bucks right now. And and I'm just like, I'm not paying $20 for a brand new action figure when I know that the stores are going to get them in because they said they were going to get it in. They said they were going to make enough, and you just got to be patient. But these are the ones that I want that are showing on the screen right now. It's the 3.5 inch or 3.25 inch characters, you know, the classic style looking figure. And these are the ones that I can get. You can get them for $7.99 at the store if they have them in stock. Um, you know, I want to get some. I don't know about you guys. Hopefully, you guys want to get some too. Talk about if you were actually in the store looking for these guys this week. Are you a huge fan of Star Wars? Are you not a huge fan of Star Wars? I definitely am. Again, that's what kicked off all this stuff for me. This is why I like comic books. This is why I like Spider-Man. So I like Batman. This is the reason why, because of Star Wars. It kicked it off for me, and I am totally excited about the movie that's coming out in December as well. It looks like it's gonna kind of be that traditional type of movie that we love from the Star Wars franchise. So yeah, and right now I got 2 people watching, so thanks guys for watching. Please feel free, guys, to leave comments, questions, anything you want to talk about. Leave them in those comments, and I'll get back to you. Thank you for listening in on today's show. So hopefully these stores will definitely get in these Star Wars characters so I can buy some of these. I'm not going to buy them on eBay though. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to pay 20 bucks for it. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is this right here. Okay, if you can see it, I know the image might be a little bit blurry. I did kind of adjust the screen resolution because of YouTube acting up today, so it might be a little bit blurry. But this visual right here is a classic visual. Okay, this was an Empire Strikes Back where Luke Skywalker's doing the battle against Darth Vader, and you get the lightsaber duel, and it's like you got the freaking Darth Vader. You know, he's and he's doing this battle against Luke Skywalker, and he chops off his arm, and he's like, ah, you know, and then you get, you know, in the movie, you get the biggest reveal that you will ever get, and you get this. He goes, Luke, I am your father. And then the next thing that happens is you get this, and he's like, no! You know, Luke Skywalker freaks out, and he's like, you know, just freaking out, and he could not believe it. Now, this was one of the most dramatic scenes in movie history, at least back in the day, in the 80s. And this was one of the most jaw-dropping things that moviegoers could not believe. Obviously, Darth Vader, this crazy robot-looking guy, was the father of the innocent and young, you know, Luke Skywalker trying to find his way. And he couldn't believe that his father was in control and in rule of the Empire. And this shocked the world. So, do you think that in Star Wars today, do you think that this secret would have held out until the movie came out? You know, with all the social media, with everybody that, you know, spoils everything, do you guys legitimately think that that this secret would have hold today? And I think that's part of the problem that goes on with you know, with social media today, is that same within comic books. You know, I do comic book reviews, and you know, usually, you know, yes, I do give spoilers in them, but it's usually till after the book is out and things like that. But you know, again, I try to help people on what comics to buy, so I tell them what's going on in the comic to make that decision. But when it comes to movies, I just feel like nothing is safe anymore. I think it's very hard to keep things a secret. And if this was not kept a secret, if this was in today's society, this would not have that big emotional impact. And I think, again, in today's world, we have these problems. I think that comics don't make the big impact like they used to, because you already find out what's going on before it even comes out. Like, for instance, the new identity of the Incredible Hulk, right? So in society, you know, before we had computers and whatnot, we, you know, we would get kept a secret. So, for instance, Incredible Hulk, the all new Awesome Hulk, or whatever it is from Marvel, it was released that Amadeus Cho is going to be the new Hulk, and it's like, okay, thanks for kind of spoiling that, Marvel, you know. And it's kind of like it takes away that impact. It's the same with Johnny Storm with Fantastic Four, when they announced all over the news that he was going to die. And then kind of in the same way with Superior Spider-Man, where we get all these revelations. And I feel that takes away in the impact. And it's the same with certain movies too. Now I know I know Star Wars is having this you know, hush hush. There's a lot of secrecy going on with this movie, and I hope it stays true. You know, but it's going to be tough when this movie comes out for people that haven't seen it to not get it spoiled for them. I'm definitely looking forward to this movie. You guys, let me know what you think in the comments. You know, do you agree with me? Do you not disagree with me? Was this one of the most impactful moments that you've ever seen? Now, for some younger viewers or listeners out there, this may not be as impactful. This might be, okay, what was the big deal? Okay, I saw this coming from a mile away. But back then, it was a big deal. It was a shocker in the 1980s. So you guys weigh in your thoughts on that there for me. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. Helger Peterson's on the show, and he says, good morning, Mike. Sorry, but I'm not a great Star Wars fan. And he talks about his top 5 comic books this week, and his top 5 comic books uh, this week is in no particular order. Was Hail Hydra issue number 2, Lobo number 10, Thor's number 3, Detective Comics number 44, Injustice Gods Among Us year 4, and number 19. Okay, so those are his top 5 comics of this particular week. Talking about comics this week, not sure if you guys saw my countdown this week, my comic book countdown that I do each and every week. And just to give you a heads up of what my top 5 of the comic books this week was, number 5 is Danger Girl Renegade series, issue number 1. House of M, issue number 2. Um, my number 3 comic of the week was Platona, issue number 1. We Stand on Guard, issue number 3 was my number 2. And my number 1 comic book of the week was Green Arrow, issue number 4. Or 44, sorry guys. So yeah, that's what we have this week. Those were my top 5 comics of this particular week. And yeah, I had some good comics this week, and I'm definitely jumped on to the Green Arrow wagon once again. Now that I'm starting to get used to this creative team, because that series always constantly changes. So, yeah. So now we're going to talk about our main um, topic of the week, and Justin's on the show, Exile State Comics. He says, "What's up, Mike?" And also, the Green Arrow variant cover was great. Yes, it was. I like the original cover too, with the wolf on there, and that really kind of stays true to the story in there. But I was like, that variant cover was just too awesome. It was just classic, and I had to pick that up. So. Yeah. So now, again, yes, we're talking about our main topic of the week. If you're just joining us, we talked about some Star Wars. We talked about the Star Wars characters that were released, the new toys that were released, and we also talked about things being spoiled in comic books or in movies, especially for like Star Wars from Empire Strikes Back, back in the day when Luke was like, "I am your father." Would that hold up in today's society? So I think it wouldn't. But now we're going to talk about comics growing up, kind of like what got you into comic books when you were a kid, or what made you start buying comics. What were the first comics you ever bought? And again, I apologize for the screens. They look blurry. I had to adjust the resolution today. Hopefully I'll fix that problem next week. I can't do it in the middle of the podcast. So first things first, I remember when I was a kid, I always had a whole stack of comic books. And I read them, I looked at them, but I was never really into them. And I remember I had a couple Amazing Spider-Man issues, and I had like Star Wars issue number 100, like from Marvel Comics. And I had quite a few things. I had a little stack, and I had a little cabinet, and I looked through them, and I was like, yeah, okay. But then I had a friend, and I remember my friend's name, and his name was Joe. And and he was like, "Oh, do you like comic books?" I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so. I got some in that cabinet that I was telling him about." And he's like, "Yeah, well," he's like, "I love comics." And he's like, "I love to draw." And I'm like, "Really?" And then one day he started drawing, and he always wanted to be this artist. And so he started drawing, and he started drawing these turtles with like swords in their hands. And I was like, "Joe," I'm like, who is this? Who are these guys? It's like, did you make them up? And he's like, no, these are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He's like, have you ever heard of them before? And I was like, well, no, I'd never heard of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm like, who are those guys? Now, this is way back when Turtles first came out, back when they were done by Mirage Studios, and their comics were black and white. And he was like, yeah, they're awesome. He's like, and he showed me an issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And so um, I was like, wow. And it was like the second printing of issue number one. And he was trying to find the first printing, and we couldn't find it. And I was like, wow, these guys are cool. And I thought they were really badass because it was like, God, it's turtles with freaking weapons. This is so awesome. I was like, this is great. So we were like searching around for them, and I never really got them, and I couldn't find any. And then one day I found a second printing of not this. Hopefully I can find it here. This, yes. Uh, Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 5. Now, I found the second printing of this book, and I wound up buying it. And I was like, this is pretty badass. If you can see this cover, you can see the turtles. They got guns in their hands. They got swords in their hands. And when you're like in 1980 something, like I was like 13 years old or whatever it was, how is that not cool? So I was like, wow, this is really neat. So I kind of got into comics starting that way because my friend was big into comics. He showed me some stuff. He introduced me to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I wound up buying this issue number 5 second print. So I thought it was really cool. So now when I got a little bit older and I started getting allowance from my parents, I would drive my bike to the comic shop, all right? The comic shop, I would ride my bike there all the time. You don't see that anymore. You don't see kids ride their bikes anymore. It's kind of weird. And so I would ride my bike to the comic shop. It was like 3 miles away. I would drive, go with my friends, go with my allowance. I would pedaling. Then I would hurry up and ride super fast and drive and fast and fast. And then I would finally go to the comic store, see what they had. And actually, it wasn't really called the comic store. It was called Baseball Cards Plus. And they had, that spinner rack of comics. And then they would have a few comics on the wall. But they were mainly a baseball card shop. They had basketball cards and everything like that. And I spun it around and I'm looking, and of course, no Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I always remembered that I loved Spider-Man, watching Amazing Spider-Man and his amazing friends on TV, and I thought it was a blast. So when I got to the comic store and I then saw this right here, I saw this image right here, this comic, The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 313. Now, I saw this book and I was like, wow. I'm like, when did Spider-Man start looking so badass? And I know I only have half the image here, but this was Todd McFarlane, and this was when he was doing his run on the series. And I thought the lizard looked phenomenal, and the attention to detail on this book was great. And I'm like, holy crap, I have to buy this book. And you can see back then it was $1, and I was just like, I gotta buy this. And this was the first Spider-Man book that I actually ever read. And, not maybe read, but really paid attention to. And I remember I fell in love with the artwork. I thought that Spider-Man looked great. I thought that Mary Jane looked gorgeous in it. I thought just everything about it was a phenomenal looking issue. And then from that point on, I think that's when I want to say that I was truly hooked on comics, because I just love the artwork and how different the artwork has become from earlier years when I was a kid. Um, from there on out, I started buying the Amazing Spider-Man. So I started buying Amazing Spider-Man, I think, an issue here and there, but I continuously bought my first series from issue with Spider-Man, and that was issue number 333. And I bought 333 going forward. And I thought it was a blast, and it was a Sinister Six story, and I loved it. It was so enjoyable. Those are some of the earliest comics that I remember ever buying. I thought it was great. It was a fun time. Guys, tell me what your favorite comics were back in the day. What were the first ones that you got? Why did you start reading comic books? That is my little story right there. I loved, my friend here who loved comic books. Me and him became friends, and we were friends for a very long time. I started collecting Silver Surfer for a little bit. I collected this one comic called Boris the Bear. It was just I just started experimenting with a whole different style of comics, but Spider-Man was always the one that I always went to. And then I started gravitating more towards Marvel books. I started collecting Darkhawk and Sleepwalker, X-Force and X-Men books back in the 90s. I just thought it was a blast, and that's how I fell in love with comics. I really did fall in love with those 1990 comics where you got the big hair and the girls with the big boobs, and you got the guys with the freaking huge muscles and the huge guns, and it just brings me back to a day. Now, was all those comics really that good? No, I don't. I don't think so. I don't think all of them were that great, especially when Image came around. I don't think they were all that good, but I did think some of those 90 books were pretty good, especially this Todd McFarlane run. Then Eric Larson took over Amazing Spider-Man. And, so you got Deadpool coming out back then as well. So it was a lot of fun. So, again, guys, leave me those comments and questions. Tell me what your favorite series was back in the 1990s. Tell me, what made you start collecting comics back in the day. I love to hear you guys' thoughts and comments here. So, all right. So now it's that time of the show where we're going to go and jump into talk about some of the comics that are coming out this week. I'm going to check the comments and see if I have any here real quick. And Justin says, I started getting books at a store called the Top Shop. It had a spinner rack of comics, and I started with Spider-Man and Batman. The first I remember getting was Batman 441 from 1989, LOL. I bet you can remember what that story was about, too, that issue 880 or issue 441. I bet that was a pretty funny story. My Spider-Man book had to deal with in the Inferno storyline, so it had to do a little bit with that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, that's cool. I love hearing the stories of how people got into comic books. I think that's pretty awesome. I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. I lost train of thought here, but nevertheless, we'll go on to talking about this week's comics. And yeah, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I still have it." So that's awesome. I still remember. I mean, I have my original comics too. I have sold some of my comics. However, I did manage, to keep the ones that truly mean something to me, the sentimental value ones. I'm definitely never selling any of my Spider-Man books. That is for sure. All right, so now we're going to talk about this week's comic books that are coming out. Now, continue to check the questions in the comments as you guys go along. Again, sorry that this show started late today. I had a lot of technical difficulties. As you can see, if you are watching the show, the screen is a little bit blurry, so apologize about that. YouTube having some issues today. Had a lot hard times getting on. So today, we have a new week of comics. I think there's a decent amount of comics that are coming on. Some highly anticipated books. And today we're going to be talking about probably the most anticipated book for a lot of people out there today. And I heard this book was like $5 or something like that, but on my list it came out at $3.99. And the first book we're going to be talking about is probably, again, one of people's favorite books, and that is Batman, and it's issue number 44. And this has to do with the new origin, or the origin of the new villain, Mr. Bloom. And in a tale from Bruce Wayne's past, Batman must investigate a vicious crime in the shadow area of Gotham City known as the Narrows. So, are you guys on board with Batman? Are you excited about what's going on in the series right now? Are you not in love with Batmech? Do you want Bruce Wayne to come back and be, the Batman we all known and loved for years and years? I still like the series. I'm going to continue to read it. I can't deny Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo on what their artwork is, and what their story, or what they're trying to tell here. And I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really interested in this Mr. Bloom character. He's kind of intriguing me right now, so I'm interested to see what's going to happen here. Excuse me. All right. So next, we're going to talk about another book that is highly anticipated this week, and that is The Walking Dead, issue number 146. It just says the breaking point is reached. Now, if you read The Walking Dead, you know what's been going on. We got a whole bunch of members being killed in the in society here, and Rick has to make a decision now if he's going to go after the Whisperers because 12 of his people have been killed, or is he going to lay back and kind of let them get away with what happened? And I kind of think that people are just fed up with Rick Grimes and him, not being able to make a decision. But I understand him at the same time because really it's all about them keeping their society intact. I don't think Rick wants to really jeopardize that. So maybe his people will understand what happens. So we'll see what goes on there. But I'm definitely picking up Walking Dead this week. It's a book that I've been reading since issue 50 now. And I can't wait for issue number 2. So, all right. So let's see what else we have right now that's coming out this week. Action Comics issue number 44. I swear to God, is this story ever going to end? The epic truth arc reaches as its finale as Superman makes some brutal choices and discovers the source of Shadow Warriors. Another highly anticipated book. I feel a lot of people want to know what happens with Superman. If he's going to keep his powers, if he's going to completely lose them forever, is he going to love Lois? Is he not going to love Lois? What's their relationship going to be like? I don't know, but this story, especially like the last issue that I read, just was so weak. I was like, oh my God, who the hell's Hoarder Root? And Lois Lane outs out his identity so the enemies don't have to do it. And so that's what's going on in or going on in Superman, at least. We'll see what happens in Action Comics because Superman's doing with these Shadow Warriors. And I thought that was such a weak storyline there. At first, I thought it was him just going against normal police officers, and then they throw in aliens, some Shadow Warriors in there. So who knows? But we'll see what happens with it. Next, we have Darth Vader issue 9. Are you guys still reading Darth Vader? I am. I think Darth Vader is awesome. I think it's a great story. Ties into Star Wars every once in a while. And it just says Vader has a new mission to do for the Empire. Unfortunately, it's completely at odds with his own mission. What will the Dark Lord do? It's a great looking cover. You got Darth Vader looking out his Star Destroyer, seeing the other Star Destroyers ahead of him. Got that classic back turns. Really cool cover here. Can't wait to read it. Definitely looking forward to it. And this is Darth Vader issue number 9. If you guys, again, are Darth Vader fans, definitely check this book out. All right, next, we're going to talk about, let's see, Miss Marvel issue number 18. I think I'm actually a couple issues behind on this one. I didn't read the one, I think, where she teams up with Captain Marvel. So it says, between teaming up with her personal hero to rescue her brother and trying to keep her city from falling into all-out frenzy, Kamala has barely had time to come to terms with the fact that that's it. That's all it says. Miss Marvel is a really good series. I think she's a very relatable character. I'm excited for Miss Marvel. Looking forward to it. I like the cover here. It has her sitting on the bench and she's like thinking of all her like superhero friends. I think that's really awesome. Next is Batman Superman issue number 24. Um, Epic truth arc reaches its finale as Superman discovers the true fate of Batman and makes a fateful decision. The one thing that I think that's kind of cheesy with the Batmech is the whole police car lights on there. With it flashing red and blue. I think that's a little cheesy for my taste. Batman Superman book, I read the first issue when it comes to Commissioner Gordon or Gordon and Superman, and I hated. Oh my god, I did not like the direction that book was going. It just seemed so generic. I felt like they tried to play too much off of the Batman, Superman when it was, just Batman and regular Superman, and they tried to continue that. And I just kind of think that Batman or Superman needs to solve his own issues right now before they kind of just continued this team up book. And that's my opinion here. I don't know what you guys think of that whole situation. Are you guys reading Superman? Are you guys reading Superman, Batman? Let me know. Let me know what books you guys are excited for. Next is a book that I'm really excited for, and that's Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, issue number 5. It's the Parkers versus Regent. Regent's this crazy ass big dude. He's sucked up everyone's, all the powers of the superheroes. And the powers are not infinite, though, so he has to be wise about them. How is Peter Parker, Mary Jane, and Annie Mae going to stop Regent? I'm not sure, but this book has been phenomenal. Hopefully you guys have been reading it. I couldn't suggest a better Spider-Man tale right now than Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. Great, great book. What's next? A-Force, issue number 4. I thought the last issue was a little bit confusing. I don't know about you guys, if you guys have actually read it or not. But A-Force is a pretty solid book. The artwork is solid, and I love Jennifer Walters as a baroness or a baron of this particular land, and she's trying to solve what's going on. She kind of had to put herself in hiding, and Medusa is going to be playing the ruler right now. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on with this particular book. There's a traitor involved within the group as well. So this has been a good Secret Wars title. I know maybe a lot of you are kind of over the whole Secret Wars. You want to get on with the whole let's get forward with the Marvel Universe. I want to see what the new universe is about. And, starting in October, we're going to get that. But we got to wrap up all these other stories this week or this coming month. All right, next is a book that I haven't read, but Catwoman issue number 44 is pretty high on a lot of people's list. I actually read the first issue of the new creative team of this book before Convergence, and I thought it was pretty solid, but I just couldn't get into all the crime scene and the mob scene and things like that. But I think this is a pretty awesome, I think this is a pretty good series if you're a Catwoman fan. And as the mob's turf war for control of Gotham City continues to escalate, Ego and Selina must make some hard decisions if they are to withstand the power plays of the Penguin and the Black Mask. So how many of you guys are reading Catwoman out there? I don't really see too many people reading Catwoman. But again, like I told you, I actually have read that one issue. And Faulty Joe is on the show, and he says, sup? Am I late? LOL. Never too late for the show. You can come on when you have, 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left, and you can always listen to the show after the fact, Faulty Joe. So thank you for tuning in and listening in. Guys, tell me in the comments what comics you're most excited for this week. And we talked about some great things this morning or a couple of minutes ago or an hour ago, whatever you want to say. We talked about some Star Wars characters, some spoilers in movies, things like that. And again, right now we're talking about this week's comic books. So, all right. So the next thing independent comic book that comes up is The Wicked and the Divine. Issue number 14 is coming out, and it's behind the music, wouldn't stay back from the spotlight, but in this issue, we look beneath the mask. Shall we say it's the most audacious and experimental issue of Wick Dive yet? Um, I haven't read this series, and I'm not sure if it's good. I haven't heard too many things about it, but a lot of people are purchasing it, so it's got to be pretty good. All right, next is Civil War issue number 4. I'm not picking it up. Tony Stark face to face with the true enemy while General Rogers commences a massive military effort to end the Civil War once and for all. I heard that Black Panther was behind the whole issue, the whole situation, and I was just not a fan of this. That first issue just dragged me out of the entire series, and I didn't like the artwork. And I said, you know what? I'm not gonna buy it again, and I didn't. So I'm not buying issue number 4. Next is Journey Star Wars Phase number 1 of 4. For the first time ever, for the first time in the new Star Wars canon, journey with us into the time after the end of Return of the Jedi. And the writer is Greg Rucka. And I think this is going to be a pretty cool series. I think that this is probably going to kind of lead up into the movie. I'm heavily, heavily excited to read this book. I cannot wait for this one. I can't be more excited to read about some of your classic Star Wars fans after, or characters after Return of the Jedi. I think this is going to be a brilliant read. I cannot wait for it. Can you tell I'm a huge Star Wars fan? Yes. Next is Outcast issue number 12. I've heard this series has picked up quite as well, especially since this is going to be a TV show now. I think people are going to jump on it. Close to home, our second story arc draws to a close as things spiral even more out of control. Kyle's attempts to set his life straight seem to just keep pulling him deeper and deeper into darkness. Ooh, spooky comic book. Don't read it in the dark. Oh, by the way, are you guys gonna see The Visit this weekend? Tell me that that movie does not look creepy as hell. It's like, do you want your kids ever to go in grandma's house again? I mean, the grandma tells the kid to go into the oven. I mean, how freaky is that? I think every time I see that actual preview, it gives me the chills. And I'm anxiously awaiting for it. Now, my wife won't go see it with me because she's chicken of scary movies. So I'm gonna have to go and like watch this one on demand or DVD when it comes out. But I'll have to watch it in the dark. But I think this movie is gonna be pretty awesome. So, all right, going back to the comics now. Planet Hulk issue number 5. I think this is the last one. I'm not sure. And it says, branded by battle, absolved by blood. For Steve Rogers in Devil Dinosaur, there is no end to Hulk, no promise of salvation. So this story has been solid. I think this has been more of the better Secret Wars titles, in my opinion. Last issue you got to see, we found out that Bucky was not alive and that the Red Hulk had his arm in his hands and he's laughing at Captain America. And if I was at Captain America, I'd be like, damn you, asshole Red Hulk. Your ass is going to be beat. And it looks like that's what we're going to get. We're going to get this final confrontation here between the two. Next is, what a great, this title always just blows my mind. Bitch Planet, issue number 5. The bitches enter the arena for their first time. Very first Death Sport match from 2014. Best writer, Eisner anomaly. Kelly Sue DeConnick is the one that writes this. And I've never read this book, so if you guys want to give me any type of feedback whenever you listen or watch, let me know in the comments what you think of Bitch Planet. It's just a hysterical name for a comic book. So, all right. And Faulty Joe says, Star Wars, I think the prequel to the movie comes out today. I believe so. Yes, that's a comic that I was talking about probably a couple minutes ago. Obviously, this might be a little bit on the delay. Um, but yes, I am excited for that comic. Definitely looking forward to it. Gotham Academy issue number 10. I recently just read all 9 issues. I read them last week. I think this is a great series. Guys, check this one out. I don't think this is one to underestimate. Bubble, toil, and trouble. To investigate a suspicious student, Olive and the gang join the school production of Macbeth. But is this play haunted? And that's what I like about Gotham Academy. I feel that it's a type of series that's very mysterious. It's very enjoyable. It's creepy, and Olive is the one that's most mysterious to me. And you kind of you get little bits and pieces of the girl, but you can't quite figure it out yet, and how her powers are used, and if it's going to be for evil, if it's going to be for good, we kind of don't know yet. Deadly Class issue number 16. Another popular independent book from Image Comics. I read the first trade. I haven't read the second trade. Looking forward to eventually reading that second trade. I know people asked me about it last week. And Marcus's long, bloody freshman year at King's Domain is coming to an end. And the final exam will cost him either his life or his soul. Don't miss the heartbreaking third arc finale. So this is the third arc finale. So obviously we're going to get a third trade that's going to be coming out soon. Next is Justice League United issue number 13. Now, I've heard that this story or this particular series has kind of gone down the tubes a little bit. People are not as interested in it anymore. Guys, you can tell me about this book if you like. I don't read it. Guest artist Paul Pelletier joins the JLU for a special storyline that sees Stargirl and the team of Steel, Robot Man, Batgirl, Vandal Savage enter a war zone that it was once very familiar. So we'll see what happens there. Pretty cool looking cover. All right, next we have the new Suicide Squad, issue number 12. Looks like it's got Harley Quinn walking on a whole bunch of bodies. The Suicide Squad's mission is to infiltrate. Brutal League of Assassins Splinter Group is put in serious jeopardy when Manta goes too far to prove his loyalty, and Boomerang refuses to go far enough. I haven't read the new Suicide Squad since issue number 4. I didn't find it really appealing enough for me to continue to read. Maybe there's a point to jump on board again. I'm not sure. Again, guys, let me know if there's any of these comics that you actually read, and if you're interested in maybe referring some books to me. So I scratch your back, you guys scratch my back. Next, Secret Wars 2099. Number 5 of 5. An ancient evil appears with the hopes of destroying the Avengers once and for all. Roberta discovers the truth about her dual identity as Captain America. That's what I've been waiting for right there. That's what's kept this series alive for me, because I wanted to learn about Roberta. I want to know how she became this Captain America, and will she ever find out her own secret that she is a dual identity? At the end of the last issue, you wind up finding out she's like, where am I? Who am I? What's going on here? So definitely looking forward to some Secret Wars 2099, issue number 5. All right. Now, if you guys are looking to take a break of some serious comics, Giant Size, Little Marvel, Avengers versus X-Men is fantastic. Scotty Young does the artwork. He writes the book as well, and it's just so comical. I love the book. It's just a blast to read, and it's funny. My son just recently got reading a book that he illustrated that he had to read for school. I picked up this book, and I'm like, Scotty Young, and sure enough, you open up the book and it has his artwork in it. And I'm like, how cool is that? That is so badass. So, but this series I think is definitely worth you guys reading for sure. All right, next is Injection number 5. And that is an independent comic that I've never read, and just says Mark Kilbride goes underground to save a man from the sound of the haunted future. Okay, we'll see what happens there, I guess. Not a very good description. Doesn't give me anything that makes me want to buy the book, like a preview or a longer story or something. Siege number 3. An enemy rises, and this time it's personal. All right, not buying this series either. You know why? Because I couldn't stand the artwork. It seemed like I wasn't anywhere in the book. I was just a couple of characters and some dark blue in the background. I just thought that the artwork just bore me to death, and the artwork was just so, it was just like an watered colored art, and I was not attracted to the story in any way, shape, or form. Earth 2, Society number 4. I know I read Earth 2 for a very long time, but not a fan of it this time. I got enough of Earth 2, especially after Convergence, and Convergence whole story was around Earth 2 characters, and so now I'm not on board. And I haven't heard too many things about Earth 2 being a solid series this time around, so I'm going to be skipping it. Next is the Saga Volume 5 trade paperback. If you guys haven't caught up on Saga, if you're not up to date with the newest issues, check out Volume number 5 today. Starfire issue number 4 comes out today. We have the battle of Key West continues as Starfire and her new ally, the hero known as Atlee, square off against a mysterious beast from below. Can Corey defend her new friends and family from this new threat? I think this is a pretty solid book. The humor is great. It kind of really grounds Starfire, trying her to get used to how the way things work in Key West. She's come across this new hero. I forgot her name. I know she was in a Power Girl series, and I think this is going to be pretty cool book. I have read the first 3 issues, and I love the artwork. Jimmy Palmiotti is the writer of this series, and Amanda Connor works with him on the artwork, I think, too. 1602, Witch Hunter Angela. Now, I heard that you're going to either love this series or you're going to really hate it. Where do you think I sway? I really hated it. I couldn't stand this book. I thought this book was awful. I thought the artwork was awful. I thought the writing was awful. I just couldn't get into it. Nothing against anybody out there that does this for their living. And I hate saying when I say things that it's awful, but for me, I didn't get an enjoyment out of this particular story. After the first issue, this was the only Secret Wars book that I think I said for sure that I was dropping after the first issue. All right. Harley Quinn Road Trip Special One Shot. Hey guys, it's $5.99. This could be a fun issue if you're a Harley Quinn fan, but for $5.99, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not spending $5.99 on this one. Mrs. Deadpool and the Howling Commandos, number 4. I think this is the end of this one. This is where she teams up with the Howling Commandos to defeat Dracula. And this has been a fun series. It's very comical. And if you're a Deadpool fan, I think you'll definitely like this book. Next is Red Skull, issue number 3 of 3. For some reason, I never read this. And I heard that the first issue was really, really good. And I didn't hear too much about the second issue. But I think this has been a pretty solid series for a lot of you readers out there. So go ahead and check this one out if you can. A little description here. The Deadlands have pushed Magneto's mind to the brink of madness. Can the Shield survive an attack from the Red Skull's new army? Is there anyone left to defeat the Red Skull? Well, I don't know. We'll find out. Next is the Korvac Saga, issue number 4. Kind of same thing with this one. I liked the first issue, but it wasn't something that really captured me. I was like, and I was buying so many books, I had to make some cuts. Now, they do a good job here. They put you a good description of the comic and a nice little preview so you can actually say, hey, this might look good. I might want to buy this. Unlike that other weird book that I read off a little while ago. Let's see, Red Hood and Arsenal, issue number 4. I've been hearing some good things about this one, too. This time, the boys battle Batman. Red Hood and Arsenal are taking their vigilante business to Gotham City, where the with a new Dark Knight, likes it or not, and they're about to skip the introductions. Pretty cool cover I see here. There's a lot of action going on in this particular book. I haven't read it. It was one of those things that I was on the fence about when it first came out because I didn't like the last series, and now I feel like I might be a little bit lost there. Dark Horse has a book called Rebels Number 6. Seth Albert started off a young idealistic woodsman, but as the War of Independence draws to an end, it's a battle hardened that returns home to his wife. Blah, 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 blah. No, not reading that one. Maybe you guys might be excited for Rebels. Dark Horse has another one called Ape Sapien, Dark and Terrible, issue number 26. Letter number 44 is coming out. Issue number 20. I did hear good things about this series. However, I feel like now I'm too far away from actually jumping on board of this story. So, unfortunately, the only way I'm going to catch up on this one is actually in trade. All right, so let's see. I don't know if I have any other comics here. Holger Peterson says, I am excited for Starfire issue number 4. Yeah, I am too. I think it's a lot of fun, that book. And I just love seeing Corey on how she is so she's like got to be broken in, things go in over her head. She's like very gullible, and I love her character, but yet she's willing to save anybody, so I really do enjoy her character. All right, next, heard good things about this one. Star Trek Green Lantern issue number 3. People are telling me to buy this one too. If you're a Green Lantern fan, you're going to like it. If you're a Star Trek fan, you're going to like it. If you like both, you're going to love it. So, guys, go out there today. Star Trek Green Lantern issue number 3 comes out. This is a weird book. This next one from Dark Horse Comics. Harrow County issue number 5. After uncovering Harrow County's twisted history and her own bizarre connection to the populace, Emmy forges a new and profound connection to the land and its creatures. This book is really odd. There's just like people walking around with no bones, and this girl, I think, was born from a tree because she was a witch in the past life. Just weird stuff. I read the first 2 issues of it, and I was kind of like, wow, this is really weird. But if you want to check it out, it's there, coming out today, issue number 5. Let's see, what else do we have that we can check out here? Maybe we'll get some funny comics. Let's see. We have the Shield 50th anniversary issue number 1, Quake One Shot. This book is $3.99. Just family reunion. Learn why Quake makes the perfect agent for Shield. When a group of humans gets involved, Quake finds out exactly how far she goes to finish a mission. Really cool cover there. It's got Quake on there using her powers. And I think I might get this book, but I think I'm getting the action figure variant. I think I'm going to get that one. $3.99, kind of can't beat it there. Next is Ninjax issue number 7 from Valiant. This series, I read the issue 6. It was a good jumping on point for a lot of people, and I loved it. And it says, Shanghai shatters the Shadow Wars. Ninjak goes head-to-head with the Shadow 7's toughest villain, Sangine, I think her name is. But will his past come back to bite him before she does? Great book. Artwork is pretty cool. Not my favorite, but it's okay. And I can recommend this, you guys. Valiant is a good company. They put out some good stuff. Luther Strode. I think I've heard some good things about this one too. I just never got into it. We're on issue number 3, and the bullets are flying in Hong Kong as Luther goes up against the shooter, the last man standing between him and finding Kane. Next we have, let's see, Savior issue number 6. So here's that. Here's the thing that I'm talking about, right? You want someone to actually buy this comic book, right? And and it gives you this type of description. Hold on one second as I have a text. So you want someone to buy your comic. You're on issue number 6, and and it's John Doe's past is finally revealed, and that's all it says. Nothing there. Why I'm gonna buy a comic, I don't know. This this is a funny ass description. So sorry, I'm a little distracted. Again, I got this text I'm trying to actually give to my wife here. All right, next we have My Little Pony. Are you guys bronies out there? Do you read My Little Pony? I definitely don't, but I always make fun of my friend Mike over on Comic Frontline saying that he reads My Little Pony. But it says Discord has been having trouble sleeping, and a bad sleep for Discord means trouble for anyone around him. Princess Luna divides into Discord's chaotic slumber to try and identify the source. Definitely not buying it, but for the bronies out there, go check it out. God is Dead, issue number 42 is coming out. The Fuse, issue number 14. The All Famous Crossed, Badlands, issue number 85. The Rude and Crude makes me feel like a bad person for reading it series. I'm not checking out Crossed anymore. This book, Suiciders, issue number 6. The epic conclusion to the opening story arc. The secrets of the saints of suicides are finally revealed. In Blood and Fire, the ups and coming Strainero finally gets what's coming to him. I don't know, not getting that one. Sonic the Hedgehog, number 276. Probably one of the best ongoing video game ongoing series there is besides Mega Man. And I think the artwork is phenomenal. I think if you're a Sonic the Hedgehog fan, I think people will really love this actual series. We have The Bunker, issue number 14. Here's a new book from Image Comics called Faster Than Light. In the very near future, we discover the secret of faster than light travel. Suddenly, the universe is wide open to us, but are we ready for it with all the idiosyncrasy of the original Star Trek? Interesting. I don't know if I'm going to actually get it, though. Bravest Warriors, issue number 36 comes out. Let's see if we have anything else. Another Doctor Who book comes out this week. Doctor Who 12th, number 11. Swords of Sarrow. Well, I can't talk anymore. Swords of Sarrow, number 5 comes out. And let's see if we have anything else here. If you guys are Arrow fans, Arrow season 2.5, issue number 12 comes out. Another Crossed book comes out. This is Crossed Plus 100, issue number 8. And Dark Horse has Red Sonja and Conan number 2 of 4 coming out. If you guys are looking to jump on Miss Marvel, we got the True Believers dollar book that is out. That covers Miss Marvel issue number 1. We have Black Widow that covers issue number 1. Bloodstrike number 2 is out. And let's see. Robin Hood ongoing issue number 14. Guys, this is a really great series. I highly suggest you guys check out Robin Hood. I feel that this is sometimes under the radar. If you want to pick up some trades in this book before the ongoing came out, it's definitely worth it. I think you can really enjoy this series. Every story arc is a new jumping on point. Patrick Shan is the writer. Great book. Let's see. Haunted Horror, issue number 18. Chrononauts, volume 1 trade paperback. Definitely recommend this to you guys. This was a great story written by Mark Millar. It's only $10. This is one that I can suggest that you guys can pick up. And let's see, I'll make one final walkthrough and see if there's anything else really worth talking about here at this point. Let's see. Sherlock Holmes, number 7. Vampirella, Army of Darkness, number 3. And we have Astronauts in Trouble, issue number 4. Judge Dredd magazine, number 363. I didn't even know that existed. Walt Disney Comics and Stories, number 723. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all we're going to talk about today. I covered most of the main ones, some of the bad ones. And yeah, so, all right. So let's see what we got here. Holger, or Exile, Justin, Exile State Comics says, new book from Image this week called Faster and Light number 1. Looks good. If it's there, if I have extra money, I might check it out. Or Justin, I might check out your YouTube channel and actually check out your review on the book and see if it's worth picking up. And he also says, yes, Star Trek Green Lantern is pretty darn good. And Tim Marson says, excited for Star Wars Shattered Empire this week. And Tim also says, My Little Pony for life. Yeah, I think the only My Little Pony issues I bought is for my daughter. At least that's what people think I buy them for. Ooh, I'll leave you that with a mystery there. But yeah, some good stuff there. I've read them to my daughter, and those My Little Pony books are actually, they're pretty well written, and the artwork in them is actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie there. So guys, there you have it. There was Wednesday morning comic talk issue number 3, episode number 3. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed it. Again, sorry I started off late. We talked about the comics this week. We talked about the new Star Wars action figures that were coming out if you were waiting in line. We talked about the classic Star Wars scene in Empire Strikes Back with Darth Vader revealing that he was Luke's father, if that actual plot line would hold up in secrecy in today's society. And we talked about some of the first comic books that I have ever actually purchased, and what some books you guys actually purchased for the first time. And this show, even though it started late, I had a good time doing it. Hopefully we'll start at 10 o'clock without any issues next time, guys. And this has been Wednesday Morning Comic Talk, episode 3. If you have a particular topic that you guys want to discuss in next week's show, please leave it in the comments, and I will definitely take it in consideration, and we can talk about it before we talk about the current week's comic books. So guys, as always, thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. And as always, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off, and this has been Wednesday Morning Comic Talk. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.